Right, hi, my name is Emmanuel. Today we are testing three popular church presentation software programs: EasyWorship 7, VideoPsalm, and BibleShow. I'll be comparing how fast they display scriptures during sermons, plus a few other things. And by the end, you know which one really gets the job done, which one is perfect for you. So let's get started. So we are starting with EasyWorship. It can do a lot: songs, media, full presentations. But in this video, I'll focus on scriptures alone. To see scripture options, you need to go to the scriptures tab to see all that. So we got two sections here. We have the preview, which shows stuff before you actually send them out, and then we have the live output, which is what the congregation should see, right? And then we are greeted with this down here. Going to see that we have the reference bar where we can type where we are going to specifically. And there are three input fields: the first one for book, second chapter, third verse. And the first one is great for finding books because it has this algorithm, helps you find books relatively quickly. I just type in a few characters and it autofills. I'm going to show you how the autofilling works. So it's based on the way it is structured, in the Bible from beginning to end, from Genesis to Revelation. Right. For example, I want to get to Exodus. I would need to type E to get Exodus filled out. Right, and then space bar to get to the next one, or my arrow keys to move between, or the tab to move between, and shift tab to go back. Right, so you could practice along, get used to the amount of characters you would need to type to get to a specific book. Another example could be Philippians. If I was going to Philippians, I would need to type P and H. Psalms came out first because it's before Philippians in the Bible. So PH brought out Philippians, which is quite nice. And then I can down press space bar, type the chapter, press space bar again, type the verse, and then press enter, and then it displays on the live output. Unfortunately, there is no shortcut to go back here and highlight and type the next. You're on focus on the live. So to go to the next verse, or to go to another different reference, or search another scripture out, you would need to use your mouse, which is can get slow. It's small, but can really slow you down sometimes. So that's that about referencing. For books with numbers before, so like First Samuel, Second Samuel, you could press space bar one and S, or you could just type one S. It helps you fill out the white space for you if you don't need to, if you don't want to do that, right? So depending on you, how you work, we'll show you how to display ranges of verses. For example, if he's reading the whole of, or between 1 and 9 of Philippians 4, I could press 1, could press space bar again, or tab, I believe, and it brings out the hyphen. I could press 10 here, so that brings out the range, and I can press enter on that. Now this time I could use the arrow keys to navigate between the live output, because here I could use my mouse. Probably you shouldn't be using your mouse. So if he's reading along, I follow along with him. He's going, he's going, he's going, he's going, he's going, he's going, and that's how you could do it with the live, with displaying ranges of verses, which is kind of nice. Now let's go and check out how to search. Searching is quite easy. Just need to type in, don't really need to type in the whole thing. As you can expect, you just need to type in some keywords in the book or in the reference, and then you need to display the results of that. It's very fast actually. For example, I'm looking for where God loved the world. So I could, God loved, maybe begotten, and that displays it quickly. I can press enter, and then that displays for God so loved the world, right? Only needed keywords there. I don't need to start saying for God so loved the world. That you could make mistakes, and obviously you can see it's just still giving the same thing. If you make a mistake on the way, that could slow you down. So it's best to just type 3-4 important keywords in the book. Right, so that's that about searching. Let me just quickly show how to add stuff to the schedule for later use. For example, if he's making a lot of reference to Philippians 4:19, you are aware of this. You could add it to the schedule, where you could get it quickly by dragging it there, or you could press the plus icon. That does the same thing. He added twice. And then maybe you go to another verse, and then he wants to go back. Schedule is a great way to go back. let me just quickly show a short verse. Now you may have noticed that there's a watermark, not very professional. This is a demo version. It's the only free version of EasyWorship 7, and to remove it, you probably need to pay, or you could take the illegal route and download the cracked version. People do it, but it's not very nice. And also, if you work with a lot of versions in your services or your sermons, you would want to know that popular versions are paid for. If you only use King James, that shouldn't be a problem for you. But just so to know that. So yeah, that's Easy Worship. Right. Next up, VideoPsalm. This one is also really powerful. It can do just about everything Easy Worship does. And the big difference is that it's free and it's much lighter when it comes to performance. So again, let's see how fast it can display scriptures. So we obviously need to be on the Bibles tab to see Bible options, and we also have two ways of displaying uh, scriptures. You can select them using this, and like I said, it's best to always use keyboard inputs to walk around, you know, scriptures, right? Because that's the fastest way to go about them. So the reference is actually quite different from Easy Worship. It only has one input field, doesn't have three separate input fields, it just has one. And so you need to type in the whole reference, not the whole thing, but the books. The algorithm for the books is actually quite interesting. You need to type a couple of characters, the first few characters that will allow the autofill to work. For example, if I want to display Genesis, I will need to type GE, which would bring it out and prepare me for typing the chapter. So Genesis 31. I can press enter from here. It will just automatically bring out one, and I can actually now navigate between between the verses of the chapter 31 using my left right arrow keys, which is actually very nice because I do not need to type in the whole thing. If I wanted to go to a specific verse in 31, let's say verse 54, I can use the shortcut Control F. Very nice. And then 54. And then that's how quickly I can go about referencing. Very, very cool. I've also talked about ranges. You can display the whole verse, just type like the whole chapter by just typing only the chapter. I could display maybe between 1 and 10, and then that will also work as well. Or specific, for example, if you was reading verse 2, verse 13, and verse 28, you could separate it with commas. Did I say 30? I can't remember. So that would work just fine. Right, so that's that about ranges and referencing. Now, if I want to search just like I did with Easy Worship, you would need to go over here and type the switch to searching by giving word or phrase. There's no shortcut for this, unfortunately. So it'd be nice if there was maybe a little shortcut, Control Shift something, but not a big deal. Now this same works the same way as Easy Worship. Just type a few characters, or sorry, a few words in the book, and it will bring it out. So maybe God loved, begotten, and then that's that. And then I will need to press enter on that to display it out. You can also use the agenda. It's very nice. It was also adding stuff for me. But if you wanted to add stuff to the agenda, which is like the schedule for with Easy Worship, you could. Let me go back to this. Energy 1 If I wanted to add that, I'll press Alt A, which is would obviously show when you hover around the add button. And then if I wanted to go back to something I was displayed earlier or something I've added to the agenda, I can double click on that and then it displays. So that's a quick way. Let's say you've been using Easy Worship for a while, and all your songs are already on Easy Worship, right? And you want to swap. So do you need to copy and paste everything one on by one with your songs, or drag and drop? So thankfully, no. VideoPsalm actually has an import feature that can bring in your Easy Worship songs directly. That makes switching a whole lot easier, which is nice. I'm going to show you how to do that. So with the import again, you can notice that there is import to songbook, where we can go from the internet, or we can go from our system, and it gives us the option of EasyWorship. The other options pretty nice if you've been using any of these other softwares, software programs. You might find this nice. So we're going to select EasyWorship. Then what this requires us to do is to browse and find the database file where your songs are. It's there already. I use this, but if you want to find where it is, you need to navigate to the EasyWorship folder to look something like this. These are the profiles you have if you are familiar with that. I'm going to use the default now. This is where it is on my system. And I'm going to go to v6.1 databases, data. And yeah, these are some databases. And now we're particularly interested with the songs. So this is where we're heading to. So we can copy the path and go to import assistant, select, maybe get the path there, press enter. It only allows, or it will show by default the songs fireball. Let's say it's everything is showing, you just locate the songs and then press start. Next, next, next. And then simple as that, you have all your songs. Should have all your songs now. Saved as songs. I can change the name later on. Right. So we have all 225 songs here, which is pretty nice. So it makes switching a whole lot easier if you want, or if you're ever considering trying a new software. So we have a heart like that, and everything is just the way it was right then. And you can go ahead with that. Right. It's very nice. Very. Finally, let's talk about BibleShow. This software has amazing support for scriptures. You get full customization of how the text is displayed in the options menu. Here, themes, configurations, preferences, Bibles, and you can choose from hundreds of Bible versions in different languages for free in the Bible section. On top of that, you can even fully customize the interface itself. Dwelling more on the interface now, let me hide this back. This UI customization thing is really useful because you can group the tabs you use the most right next to each other. For me, that's history, reference, browser. Since I often need my mouse for those, sometimes I arrange them side by side. It sounds more, but in live setting, this can make you a lot faster, especially when you type a reference and maybe you are going through and you need to go back to something as we said before. History is just right beside you, or you want to change the version, that one is obviously part of it, so you can change the version easily. And then in the browser, where you can navigate between called scriptures with your arrow keys. So yeah, that is about UI customization. So let's actually go to how scriptures are typed. So the referencing is very straightforward, but you need a bit of practice to get used to some quirks. Even I'm learning some new things every day, even when I was making this. So like aliases for some books like Genesis, for example, you could type Genesis, and this is what you probably be required to type in VideoPsalm or EasyWorship. You could also type GN, which is also an interesting one. The first and the third letters of some books actually get it out, which is very interesting. Another example would be Mark. Now, you could type MAR, you could also type MK, which also gets it out. You could also type MR, which is also very cool for Mark. Another cool one is Zechariah and Zephaniah. ZC can get Zechariah, ZP can get Zephaniah. So those are some things that you could try exploring. How I got to understand these ones were going through each of the books and trying out and seeing if it comes out. So if it changes to light red, if it doesn't, then I'm probably messing something up and it's just not going to work for that, right? So I think I do have an alias map for all the books. If you're interested in that, you can let me know. So now here's where BibleShow falls a little behind. Searching isn't quite as fast as in EasyWorship or VideoPsalm. It doesn't update in real time. search bar is here. I put it on the side because I'm always using a shortcut for that, F6. So that's why I don't need it close to my left hand side. So it doesn't update in real time. You have to also press the enter key after typing, so that and after typing your search, and the results only show scriptures where the words appear in the right order, but not necessarily next to each other, except the find whole words only option is set. So I'll give you an example. So for God so loved the world, I would maybe type God loved world, and hope that will come out. So John 3:16 has come out as our search. That is cool. I just picked out keywords that followed each other. So God loved world, that worked as well. But let's, for example, say we typed loved and word, maybe when we were searching and we pressed enter, but then the results, let's say, were too much to scroll through. I would have to maybe add an extra word or two. Let's say I added God. In this case, it won't come up because in the actual text, God came before loved and world, which this wouldn't really happen in other softwares because they pick out the words individually and locate them in the whole text. But this has to follow each other in some way, right? Which is something you just have to take note of. It might not really be an issue for you if you really have an understanding of the text you are searching for. So yeah, that's that. So that said, it can also get a bit slow if you type a general word. Let's say I type results. You can see here it's in progress searching. There are a lot of results, so that can get very slow. I'm sure the developers are aware of this, so maybe in the future the search algorithm would have been optimized. All right, so a bit about shortcuts. F5 to switch to the reference. It switches here. We can F5 to switch to reference. We switch here, and then you can type out something. F6 to go to the search, and then you can type your search and press enter. That's that. Or Fn plus F5, depending on your system. I would usually prefer if you have a function lock. My system does, so I use the function lock. If you have a function lock, you can always use that. You can always search on it if you're not sure what I'm talking about, so that you do not have to press Fn and F5 at the same time. Switching between versions is very easy as well. Let's say we have a version out, and then we want to switch. It's just a switch and click of a button, and then it switches to the particular verse. Now, this might be useful displaying multiple versions at once. It's doable. Just have to check the box of, oh no, yeah, check the box of the other version you want to show, and then you can display that together. You can always customize how this shows up. If you want to change the order, you have to. So it's based on the order in which you check the boxes. For example, if I want Amplify Classic to come up before BBE, I could just uncheck BBE and check it back again. Yeah, so that is that about. In terms of raw speed for scriptures, I would go with BibleShow. To be honest, it's very fantastic. Also has a lot of versions you can explore. VideoPsalm is also a great choice. I could actually use that as a combo. Maybe VideoPsalm for your general sermon schedules and image, your presentations, your media, your songs, and then BibleShow for that specialization for scriptures. By the way, if you want to practice typing scriptures quickly using EasyWorship, using VideoPsalm or BibleShow, I built a free game called ScriptureType. Link in the description.